It's game dev time, baby! That's right. I haven't forgotten about you, or what I'm working on. And in case you don't know, I'm working on a MetroidVania because I played Hollow Knight this last year, and it was probably my favorite game that I've played in a long time. I already have all of the basic mechanics like jumping and shooting and exploring a map, but there's a big piece that I want to be working on. It's the lore, like the whole storyline of the game. So without further ado, let's get into it.
In August of 2012, the Voyager 1 satellite became the first man-made object to leave the solar system. On board the spacecraft was a golden disk with instructions and a map to be deciphered by any intelligent species and lead them to our home on Earth. In the year 2025, Earth lost contact with Voyager 1 as it ran out of power and continued its journey further into interstellar space. 200 years later, humanity successfully established interplanetary colonies on Mars and Jupiter's moon Europa, providing mankind's ability to conquer the solar system. But a new challenge would soon present itself as an unknown object the size of a small aircraft was seen heading towards Earth. When it was retrieved, there was a golden disk with very similar markings of the Voyager 1 spacecraft. Someone, or something, had received our message. Deciphering this newfound disk became a global effort until it was finally realized it was a cry for help. The map appeared to lead through a wormhole that opened near a planet in a distant galaxy. After countless drones were sent to scout the path, a team of highly qualified astronauts embarked on their mission to answer the distress call.
So that's not too bad for an intro. We finally have a storyline for the game, backed by royalty-free music. But who are the team members that were sent to this planet? Well, luckily, they're all located on a central base on the surface of the planet.
The idea behind this was to create a central hub similar to Dirtmouth in Hollow Knight or Firelink Shrine in the Dark Souls games, where the player could talk to different NPCs as the game progresses. And here's the inside of the planetary base. I'm still building assets to fill out the room and fit the roles of the NPCs, but I can only place pixels so fast. On the top left, we have Brian the Captain. He leads the team and makes sure everyone stays on track with the mission.
Maybe he follows direction, or you don't.
On the top right, we have Jennifer the biologist, who ended up getting stuck growing the food supply for the compound instead of researching the unique biology of the planet.
Although if you bring her some interesting plants, there could be some cool rewards.
Here on the lower left is our boy Curtis the geologist. He's tasked with mapping out the surrounding area and understanding rocks. On the right side, we have Wendy the mechanic, who was inspired by Brenda's song and Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior. She's gonna help you out with technological upgrades and whatnot.
Also, quick side note, I'm not the best at doing portraits and pixel art, and I saw the ones from Stardew Valley and got overwhelmingly jealous at the artistic talent. So if you have any tips, let me know in the comments and I'll try to improve. Anyways,
Then of course there's you, the player. You're tasked with scouting out the planet and trying to figure out why there doesn't seem to be any sign of intelligent life that sent the distress signal. Are they still here? Did they hide in subterranean tunnels? Are we too late? Also, what are these nanobots coming out of enemies and why are they attracted to the player?
that's for you to find out.
So basically, the player will explore the world and then periodically check back at the compound to get upgrades, share discoveries, and eat potatoes. Which means the player is going to have an easy way to get back to this area when they're out exploring, and I don't really like the idea of fast travel since it takes away from the interconnected world design. So I created a long central tower that connects various areas and has a pretty swoopy-doopy launcher that can quickly send the player back to the surface. Speaking of new areas, we have the Stone Cave that serves as a tutorial area showing the player how to jump and shoot at enemies like these tubby-looking hippo things. We also have the Jungle, the first actual area to explore. It's a lush underground forest cave with red enemies and spiky hazards. To enter this area, you'll need the wall jump power-up, so first, you have to go to the surface and get the upgrade for the mechanic. This way, you'll start out in the rock cave, move towards the main elevator, and then some will see the barrier to entry in the underground jungle and realize they need to turn around. But this is a key to Metroidvanias, leaving a breadcrumb and then having the player think, maybe this is important later? It also gives a reason to go to the main base for the first time and meet the team early into the game. And I wanted the first power-up to be movement-based since these kinds of power-ups can make the game so much more fun, and it's good for the player to learn these kind of mechanics early on, rather than learn it and only use it for half the game. After getting the wall jump power-up, you're able to dive deep into the jungle and start to experience what the game really has to offer. When first entering the jungle, you're met with these potted plant-looking blobs that spit out small, hard-to-see globs, and they chase after you. There's also these hoppers that skip side to side and change directions when they hit walls. Pretty dumb AI, but they're fairly easy to deal with. I've also added these abstract flying ovals that move freely back and forth.
Don't ask about the design choice here, I guess I was looking at modern art at the time.
And with this many enemies, you may have noticed I've expanded the map quite a bit, which is a relatively easy process, but it can get quite tedious, making each room unique and lively. And that's the reality of game development. So, let's say you're walking down this hallway, fighting these little hopper dudes, and then you enter the next room. Huh. Why does it seem so empty? Could something big be foreshadowed? Let's just get out of here through that door across the way. Oh no. The ground is rumbling, and I'm trapped in here. Wait, what's that emerging from the ceiling? Oh, here we go. Boss fight time.
Okay, so that's not supposed to happen. But anyway, here's the first boss.
It's a big old lobster centipede octopus hybrid. Don't ask how it fits into the jungle theme of this area, but I thought it would create a surprise for the player. So far, he only has 2 attacks. A big laser beam that follows the player, forcing them to jump up the wall to avoid damage, and this cheeky move that spawns little guys out of the tendrils that have to be taken out of the air. I have ideas for other attacks, but I'm pretty horrible at gauging the difficulty of a game, so as of right now, this boss is just a 2-attack Andy. To make this boss, I drew the head and realized it was a little bit small at first, and I wanted a big boy to fill the room, so I made the tentacles on the side as separate objects. When first entering the room, the boss starts above it, but when the player hits this invisible trigger, dirt particles go everywhere. The boss then slowly enters the room from the roof, and once it's in place, the health bar and boss name show up.
I know, that's a terrible file, but it's a problem for later me. He already hates me.
Also, I want to tell you how I make health bars fast and easy in Game Maker, because for whatever reason I can never find a tutorial on this, and the built-in health bars are wacky and should never be used. So here it is, really quick. All you gotta do is make a line that is 1 pixel wide for the health bar sprite, set a full health variable and a current health variable for the boss, decide how big you want the health bar to be, then use the drawSprite_ext function and set the image x scale equal to the boss's current health variable divided by the boss's max health variable multiplied by the size of the health bar that you want in pixels.
Okay, I get it. Nerd stuff. But we gotta learn something every now and then, otherwise we die. Or whatever Albert Einstein said.
Also, the boss's origin point of the tentacles is towards the base, so they could swing back and forth, but only with proper rotational velocity settings, otherwise you get that atrocity from before. And there it is, the first boss. I'm still balancing the fight itself, but I don't know what's best for that since I'm the game developer and tester, so I'm thinking at some point, once I get the game into a good state, I'll have a pre-alpha test for anyone that's interested, so I could tune certain things like my level design approach, player movement, combat balancing, and the overall feedback.
Don't expect that anytime soon though, cause I'm not fast. I do have a lot of other ideas come through the pipeline though, like first of all, there's no map. Kind of just go through the caves and get lost. There's also no sound at this point, and I really like getting creative with sound design, so I think in a future video I'm gonna go through that process, making sound and music for the game. So stay tuned for that. Also, I want to add more game development on this channel because my first video and only video was posted almost 2 months ago. But I don't want the only videos on this channel to be about the one game I'm making, which at this point doesn't even have a name, because the more videos I make on it, it starts to spoil crucial parts of the game. So I think I'll do some game jams and work on other short form arcade games to keep things spicy. I also told myself a couple months ago that I would code and make games for at least an hour a night because I really want to get better at this. And the only way to get better at something, as I've learned from RuneScape, is to just keep doing it. So stay tuned, this pipeline is clogged and there's a lot coming through it.